practices to match the system than the other way around. So I should be an easy sell, all things considered.
Got it. That's great. Okay, I do see a couple other people hopping on here as well. So, um, and I'll just kind of quickly cover that agenda real quickly, and then let's go ahead and do that. I think it'll work out perfect for this conversation. So,
Great.
thank you so much, those of you that have just joined us. Sean is on the call right now, and we're just gonna walk through kind of peer-to-peer functionality. I'm gonna touch base on the three different types of peer-to-peer fundraisers. We're gonna compare that to our classic fundraiser as well, and then we're going to walk through the builder on one specific one. So one thing I'll think about, Sean, a little bit for you is I did note that you're probably running an a-thon. I'm going to talk a little bit about that functionality in terms of time. I was going to run through a little bit more of a basic peer-to-peer, but we can look at the a-thon as well when we're there and talk about that too. So,
Sounds good.
okay, a couple other people are hopping on now, so that's great. Okay, great. So here I am right now. I am logged into the Cheddar Up dashboard, and I'm not going to go into a ton of functionality in Cheddar Up beyond peer-to-peer today because this is a specific peer-to-peer learning session. But a couple of things to note when you get signed up with CheddarUp, if you haven't used us in the past, you always go to the external website. You just go to cheddarup.com, you sign up. When you get signed up with us, you're going to land here on this dashboard. Now, one thing I always like to point out to people when they're signing up with CheddarUp, you can choose to sign up with us as an individual or as an organization. The primary difference between those two account types is whether or not you have an EIN, okay? So if you have an EIN, you're going to want to go as an organization. If you're a small group or an individual, you'll just pick the individual sign up account type. Now, once you land into the CheddarUp platform, the nice thing is it doesn't change. It's going to look the same no matter what subscription plan you're on with CheddarUp, no matter what type of account you have, okay? So one thing it is helpful for everybody to note is that I am on the CheddarUp team subscription plan. Now, what's nice when we talk about peer-to-peer is you can run a peer-to-peer fundraiser on our basic subscription plan. There are a few features you may choose that you want. If you choose you want those, then you go ahead and upgrade to Pro or Team. But you can definitely build a peer-to-peer fundraiser on the basic plan. Now, because I am on the team subscription plan, I just like to point out to you that you're not going to see any labels or anything on our upgraded features. So if you get started with us and you're relatively new and you're on that basic plan still, you may see some little stars next to some of our features, and they're going to say paid or upgrade. Sometimes it's going to tell you which plan you need to upgrade to. You need to upgrade to Pro, you need to upgrade to Team. You should see that little label though, okay? And because I'm logged in under the team plan, you're not going to see the labels on my account, but I will try to point some of those out as I walk through the platform. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit more to specifically what is peer-to-peer, right? So I like to show people a graphic here. So when you're building with CheddarUp, you always come over here to our what are you collecting for. When you want to learn a little bit more about peer-to-peer, you can come over here to the far right off of our builder, and you're going to pick select fundraiser type. Now I'm going to look at this one here, peer-to-peer fundraising, and I'm just going to click on this button here that says, what is peer-to-peer fundraising? This is a nice graphic, okay? So I do like to go over this because I want to make sure people understand the structure of a peer-to-peer fundraiser versus a classic fundraiser. So let's take a look at this infographic right here. So when you're building a peer-to-peer fundraiser, the primary thing to think about, you as the organizer, you're the person that's building all of this. You're trying to think of how it's going to flow within your organization. You're going to want to understand that a peer-to-peer fundraiser is going to have a unique URL or web page structure. So you're going to get a primary fundraising page. That's going to be the one for your whole organization. And then you're going to have individual participant pages. Each one of these participant pages has its own unique web page or link, and the main fundraiser page has its own unique link. So peer-to-peer really comes into play when you're trying to get that power of your community and the power of your network, but you want every single participant within your organization to also have their own unique fundraising page to share with their community. Okay. Sometimes you don't need all of that. Sometimes you just need a classic fundraiser. If you do a classic fundraiser with Cheddar Up, you're not building participant pages. You're just building one web page that everybody can go visit. It's one link that gets shared with your community. Participants can still be a part of it. They can still encourage people to share, but they're not going to have their own unique pages. You're instead going to have a single link. Okay. So I'm not going to go into the classic builder today. That would create a single link that you as an organizer is just going to share out, and kids could share out, team members could share out, but you're not going to have that unique structure of an individual participant page. Okay. So one thing to think about, let's talk about the types of peer-to-peer fundraisers we have, and I'm going to show you an example of each of those. Now, when I come here, I can click on create a fundraiser, a peer-to-peer. And now you can see here, there are 3 different types of fundraisers you can build. One other thing I forgot to mention to everybody, I was talking a little bit earlier, Sean and I were on the call, we first got started together. Please, if you guys have questions, throw them into the chat, okay? You can also stop, unmute yourself, ask me questions if you need to. I always like to say that, and I just realized I forgot to mention that, because I'll be talking a lot here, but please stop and ask questions, use the chat too. Okay, so now I want to look at the 3 different types of a peer-to-peer fundraiser, and I'm going to show you some examples of those, okay? So we have what's called a flat donations, a product sales, and an activity-based a-thon. I'm going to show you flat donations last because that's the one I'm going to build with you today. Let me show you what a product sales fundraiser looks like, peer-to-peer fundraiser. Okay, so everybody should see an example right now of a peer-to-peer fundraiser that's a product sales. So when we talk about these 3 different types of fundraisers, your structure doesn't change. You're going to have participants and they're going to have their own unique pages. I'll show you that in a second. But the one thing you're going to get with each different type of fundraiser is something a little unique with each one. A product sales peer-to-peer fundraiser lets you have separate participants and also a shop. You're selling something, okay? This is an example of a product sales plant sale fundraiser. So let's just look at this one. Couple of things you'll see here on all of our peer-to-peer fundraisers. A lot of them, excuse me, I just need to let somebody else on. A lot of our peer-to-peer fundraisers, they all have this same structure. You get an image, you get a primary page with the details for the organization, okay? You have some things here you can customize. This is a leaderboard. You can turn this on or off. Do you want to show the participants and who's raising the most money or not? That's up to you. You have a spot here where you can list how much money you've raised thus far, and this is where you can put the goal in. Yes or no? Do you want to do that or not? I'll show you where all the settings are on these, okay? Shop to support. This is a nice little call to action button. You can turn this on or off for your fundraiser, and you can customize what the button says, okay? Now, unique to a product sales peer-to-peer is this opportunity to have a shop. So this is an instance where the members of your organization, you want them to sell something. Maybe you're a school and you want all the students to sell wreaths. You want them to sell plants. You want them to sell hanging baskets. You want them to sell holiday pies or food, right? In any instance, you're going to build a shop for them, and every kid will have their own unique page. I'll show you that in one second, but I just want to show you guys what this looks like. This is a product sales fundraiser, okay? One other thing I just want to show you on the details here. You can always add in this general information about the fundraiser, and then you have some additional blocks. You can add dates, times, locations if you need them, FAQs if you need them. These are going to be pretty common to all the peer-to-peer fundraisers you can build. Okay. Everything's going to have a donors tab as well. This is going to show the people that are starting to pay on that one, and I'll see if I have a better example. And then let's look at our participants tab. Okay, so here's your participants tab. Every participant can have their own unique page. I'm going to show that next. You can decide here, do you want these images to show or not, right? You can decide if you want to show the money they've raised or not. That's part of that leaderboard as well over here on the right. Let's look at a participant page now. Okay, so this is a participant page for a shop, okay? A product sales, pardon me, a product sales peer-to-peer. So you also, as the organizer, get to customize their participant pages in terms of what you want the participants to add to their page or not, okay? So for example here, these images, do you think that your participants are going to go in, they're going to update these pages and make them look very personal? If you think yes, they'll do that and you're going to encourage them to do that, then I would turn this on when you're building it. If you think no, a lot of these kids won't necessarily take this step, you don't need to add that in. You can turn off the ability for them to add in images, okay? Here, this is a personal note that the participant can add. You can decide, do I want them to do this or not? You can even give them suggested text, okay? But you can also decide that I don't even want to display something like this with a little note. That's up to you. If you're doing a product sales, you're going to have this shop, right? That'll just automatically display. This leaderboard, it can show on the participant pages and it can show on the general details page. There's a setting here that you're going to turn on or off to decide if you want the leaderboard to show on the participants page too. Okay. Okay, so that's a product sales peer-to-peer. I want to show everybody now an a-thon peer-to-peer. Okay, let's look at that one. An a-thon, let's talk about what an a-thon is. Remember I showed you those 3 different types of peer-to-peer fundraisers a few minutes ago on that infographic? An a-thon is going to be a peer-to-peer fundraiser where you're going to have your participants, but an a-thon is based off of an activity. So you're going to track an activity. And one thing that's different about an a-thon versus a product sales or a flat donations peer-to-peer is you gather pledges prior to an activity taking place, and then you charge the donor based on the pledge and the activity that was completed after the activity is done. Okay, so we just use that general term activity because you could be doing any type of an a-thon. This is an example of a read-a-thon. Kids are going to read books or pages, okay? You're going to gather pledges up front, and then once the activity is completed, you can go in and charge those people. The leaderboard is going to show the money raised that's actually been donated after a charge. It's not going to show the pledges, okay? Let's take a look at the a-thon peer-to-peer. Structure is very similar. You get your image, you get your title, you show whether or not you want to indicate how much money's been raised. Now remember on an a-thon, it's going to show the money thus far collected, not the pledges that have been promised, okay? So you are going to see the money actually collected, not the pledges here. Pledge today, same thing. You've got your call to action, but you might want to say something a little different, right? Pledge today instead of pay now or instead of shop, right? Details can still all show. Start dates are usually important and end dates, especially on a-thons, because if it's a read-a-thon, maybe they're going to read for a certain amount of time. If it's a run-a-thon, maybe they're going to run for a day or something, right? Okay, I see a couple questions. Let me check those. Yeah, of course. Anita, sorry you have to leave. No worries. We will be sending these out. You're going to automatically get a recording after the call. Okay, so no worries. Yeah. Okay, so this is a read-a-thon, like I was just pointing out, and a couple other things. Let me see where I was at. Let me show you the participants page on a read-a-thon. Hold on, let's just look at donors for a second, see if this one's loading. Okay, for some reason that one's not loading for me, but let me show you here on participants. Here's all your kids, right? They're each going to have their own unique page, and let's take a look at what those pages like on the a-thon. Very, very similar to what I just showed you on the product sales. We don't change the format of the participant pages, no matter which type of peer-to-peer fundraiser you're picking, you're going to have the call to action. You're choosing again, do you want these images on or off? You're choosing again, do you want to let that participant include an email or include a note or not? Okay. And then even on the specific details and on the specific participant, you should be able to see the donors there too. It's not displaying right now, but that does typically display. So, and let me show you over here. This is the pledge. So a donor makes a pledge. They can indicate the max books, the max laps, the max serves, like if it's a serve-a-thon, a read-a-thon might be book or pages, a sports-a-thon. I've seen people do like softball a-thons where they're doing like home run hits or just hits or whatever it is. You're the one thinking as an organizer, what's the activity we're going to track? We're just going to give you the basic structure, but you can kind of formulate that a-thon to any type of activity that you know you want to track. Now, people can just do flat donations as well. This is a setting you turn on or off on every peer-to-peer. If you want to just allow people to just donate generally in a flat donation, and also if you don't want to have to make every donor find a participant, you can also just have people donate off of your general page and they don't have to assign a donation to a participant. This is nice because maybe somebody doesn't want to participate in a pledge, but they still want to give you a little bit of money or they want to give the kid a little bit of money. Okay? So that's how that's going to work.
So quick question on that. Is it
Yeah.
possible to only do flat donations with the a-thons?
The a-thon will always run a pledge. It's always going to ask upfront if you want to pledge, and then afterwards, it's going to have you charge that based off of the activity.
So if
You,
I so if I want people to be able to donate directly to peer or directly to students, but not have it be a pledge, I
yep.
should do the basic fundraiser then, right?
I'm going to show you one more version type. So
Okay, cool.
maybe you don't
I'll
need the
watch.
a-thon.
Yep.
Yeah. So the first thing that you're doing, Sean, is you're thinking strategically about what end result you're trying to get from your donors and how much kind of, I wouldn't call these, they're not friction, but they're different steps that donors need to take. And you need to think about which type of step you want yours to take. So the last type of fundraiser, so, and this is helpful for me to understand because I wasn't sure where you were landing, if you were a thon or if you were more of a flat donations. Let's look at the last type. This one's called the flat donations. Okay. So flat donations is a little simpler because you don't have the a-thon. You don't need to track an activity. You don't need to gather pledges before an activity, actually do the activity, and then gather payments afterwards.
Just saying
That's
hi.
what the a-thon will do.
In there. Just
Oh,
closing the window.
I'm gonna put her on mute. Okay, so flat donations is an option. And this is one if you still want your participants to have their own page. That's going to be the primary difference between a peer-to-peer and a classic fundraiser. If you just want everybody to donate to one page, you just do a classic fundraiser, okay? If you want each kid to have their own unique page, you could do this one too. You would just do a flat donations. And let's look at this one now. Not much changes. Components are still basically the same. You still got the banner image, you still got the title, you still got the amount raised thus far and the money towards the goal. Okay? You still can turn on or off your call to action button. This might just be give to sports, give to running, give to whatever. Down here, let me show you the details section. Okay, the details section is going to be very similar, okay, but you're not necessarily gathering pledges up front. In this one, you can on multiple different peer-to-peer fundraisers break the groups up into teams. So these might be coaches, these might be classrooms, okay? And then you can also, the participants is still the exact same. But in this instance, every participant has their own unique page, just flat money. I'm going to go run one day, and this might be your instance, Sean. I'm going to go run one day, but we're not so worried about how many laps this kid can run, how many blocks they can run. We just know everyone's going to participate in a running event all on the same day. And we're just trying to get these kids to get flat donations, just money sent, money contributed on their behalf, but you're not so worried about tracking the activity on the day of the event.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is exactly our scenario. If I can rewind just quickly back to the teams concept,
Yeah.
I know that there's individual pages by participant. Does there happen to be a page by the teams, which in our case would be classrooms?
Okay, so there is one level of pages. You have a couple options that you can do. Some people, instead of doing their participants as an individual kid, they do it as a class.
Hmm.
So you could say here, like you see here, I've got the kid assigned to the team Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to, and especially if you're doing an elementary school, I've seen people do this quite a bit. They don't put all the individual kids in as participants. They just do the class. So this might say Ms. Wilson's class. Maybe Ms. Wilson wants to come up with something cute. I don't know, the Wilson Wombats or something, right? And she's the
Mm-hmm.
Wilson Wombats team. Ms. Wilson, the teacher, then she goes in, she customizes the participant page just for the whole class. And then you won't have the individual kids underneath. But what you would have then is all the kids could be encouraging family and things like that to contribute to the Wilson Wombat group.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if we do it where each student has their own individual page and is assigned to a team, there is no aggregate team page in that scenario, right? It's just the summary pages we were looking at earlier where it shows the team what the team's raised, but not a page, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. The
Perfect.
kids get assigned to a team and you can see how the team is doing, but you
Yep.
don't see a primary details page, a team page,
Yep.
and a participant page.
Perfect. That's all the clarity I needed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so any other questions on what it looks like to the public? Because this is the fundraiser I'm going to build today. So I am going to go over to our builder now and we're going to walk through this and I want to make sure I get to the spot with participants because you'll think a little bit about that. Are you adding on team members? Are you going to add on classrooms? You do need to think about that because it does connect to email addresses, okay? Okay, let's walk over to the builder now. Okay, so I'm in my builder. I just want to remind everybody where I was. So I come up here to the top left, create a collection. You're going to come over here to our fundraiser section components. You're going to come over here and your classic fundraiser again is going to build a single web page. Peer-to-peer is going to give you all of these web pages. Okay. So we're going to come here and we're going to select peer-to-peer. And today we're going to run the flat donations. I'm going to actually stop here. That's where you would go. I have a replicated version of this to save me a little bit of time. But when you build from scratch, you're going to come to here. Okay. All right, let me show you guys this one because I like to build off of something I already have started. Otherwise, it's just a little too slow for me when I'm on the demo. Okay, so when you start, you're going to land in this builder. Okay, you're going to work through the 4 components, very similar if you've used CheddarUp other builder, our classic fundraiser builder. This is very similar, but you have a few different things you're doing, but the process is very much the same. Okay, so you're going to first work through your details. So let's say for Sean here, I've got this flat donations for a school. Sean maybe is going to do it for a sports team or something. Same thing. You're going to indicate what the fundraiser is about, location if you've got something in person you want people to know about, date and time. A lot of times peer-to-peer fundraisers do have a beginning and an end. They don't just run on for a very long time. Classic fundraisers do tend to run on. You can run a general donation classic fundraiser all school year, all fiscal year, your entire team year, right? But you're probably not going to do that in a peer-to-peer. Typically, there's a beginning, a push, and an end, okay? So I do recommend end dates often on a peer-to-peer. Okay, this is where you set that goal. Do you want to show a goal or not? That's up to you. Do you want to show the total amount raised? Toggle this on or off. I do think it's nice for people to see that you're trying to hit a goal. So it's up to you, but this is where you toggle it on or off. Donor fee. Do you want to show those people that are submitting the money? Yes or no? Turn this on or off. And then teams. Are you going to do teams or not? Now, Teams, again, is going to allow you to divide those participants up. If you decide that you don't need teams because you're going to just do participants at a grade level or classroom level, you might not need to turn teams on. So you do want to think a little bit about that. Now, this is something if you build in a flat donations fundraiser that you can play with. The one thing that's important to note, let's say you go down the path of a thon fundraiser and you actually picked where it says build an a-thon. You can't convert one type of peer-to-peer to another type of peer-to-peer. So you do want to play around a little bit. Don't go all in if you need to play around a little bit and play with the different types before you decide on which one you want, because it's not like you can complete one and then convert it to a different type. So I do like to tell people that when they're getting started as well, just so you don't go all the way down a rabbit hole and then realize you needed to go in a different direction. Okay, this is your call to action. Remember I showed you that? Do you want to customize that or not? Do you even want to have it on or off? You can turn that on or off. It's that cute little spiral. And then FAQs. Do you think people are going to ask a lot of questions? Then do an FAQ, okay? Once you got all those details done, you're going to go ahead and hit save, just like we do in all of our other fundraisers and builders and Cheddar Up. And now you get to your specific peer-to-peer options. So these are things you do want to think a little bit about. Okay. Include a public registration link on the main fundraising page. So when participants sign up to be a part of this fundraiser, how are you going to onboard them? You'll want to think, do you have their email addresses? And you want to invite them by email. I'll show you that in a little bit. We're going to get to those participants. The other thing you can do is you can turn on a public registration link and you can say to people, hey, we're really glad you want to participate in our peer-to-peer fundraiser. Please go register yourself. Okay? So you do want to think a little bit about that. If you're going to have the emails up front, if you're going to have a way to send out an invitation, or do you need people to come to the general page and self-register? If you want both, you turn this on. If you don't want people to self-register and you're only going to invite participants by email, you'll turn this off. Okay, so this one's an important one to note. Okay, now when you invite participants, they get emails. Okay, so if you choose to load them up via an email, they're going to get an email sent to them. You'll want to turn this on if you want to customize the message they get. Otherwise, it's just going to be a general message coming from Cheddar Up. If you want to customize it, you can say a little bit more here. Send yourself a test email if you want to test all of that. Okay, now remember when I showed you those participant pages, they had unique settings as well. So let's take a look at some of those unique settings here. Okay, do you want to let a participant log themselves in and then change their name or not? If you want to let them change their display name, you turn this on, okay? If you already have their name and you don't want people going and messing around with it, because sometimes they do that. Now you got a first name, last name, it gets all confusing. You decide, okay? You have the power to let them do it or to not do it. This is privacy. Let them show their first or last name. That's up to you, okay? Allow participants to upload their own image or video. Got to think about that. If you got 300 kids that you're hoping are going to do this, will they do it? I don't know. You have to think a little bit about that. If it's a smaller group or just the teachers and you're going to set it up in the teacher name, then I think, yeah, get them involved. Make them build this in a real fun way. If you don't want the images or videos, it's fine. Just turn this off, okay? Now, do you want to do a suggested text for the participants note? I showed you that on the participant page. It's up to you. If you want to give them a little suggestion, turn this on. If you don't even want them to put a note on, you can turn it off. So these are all your individual settings that you're toggling on or off on your participant pages, okay? Leaderboards. This is where you decide if you're going to add a team or not. You turn it on here and then we add it in the participants section. And then this is yes or no, do you want the leaderboard or not? And then goals. Do you want to set a specific goal for each participant? You can indicate it here. It's up to you, okay? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit save. Okay, now, are you going to have people suggest donations amount? This is on the flat donations peer-to-peer fundraiser only. We don't have this on all of the peer-to-peers. But if you're trying to get people to give you a specific amount of money, maybe you want to suggest how much you want from them. Okay, we give you some pre-built ones, but you can tweak these as well. Okay, and you don't even have to suggest them if you don't want to. It's up to you. Allow general donations without assigning them to a participant. I like this one. I think it should be turned on. Okay. Not everybody comes to that page, or, grandma comes to the page and she gets confused. She can't figure it out. Some random person said, I'll help you out. And then they can't find the kid's name or something. I don't know. I mean, it can happen, right? So, what I would just say is turn this one on. This will let somebody just give money to the fundraiser without having to select a participant. It's a good way to get a little bit of extra cash in the door. And then add custom questions that you want donors to answer. Sometimes you're running a fundraiser, and when that donor gives a little bit of money, you want to ask them something. You might have a question. You might need answers from them on something. So you can add questions. The only one where you can do that on is on this flat donations one. You can't ask questions on all of the peer-to-peers. Last thing, donation receipts. Do you want to show a donation as tax deductible? Yes or no? And do you want to customize the thank you receipt? When a person pays, we're going to gather first and last name and email and automatically send them a confirmation email of that payment. If you want to customize what they get in their inbox, you're going to do that here on add a custom thank you on donor receipts. Okay, so these are all the donation options. Everybody sticking with me so far? Any questions or anything?
This is great.
Okay, great. All right, let's move on. Okay, last thing you need to do before you can publish, you just need to look at your settings, okay? Couple of things. Do you want to allow payments by e-check? You do need to be on the Pro or Team subscription plan if you want to allow payments by e-check, but I do think it's a nice thing. I would turn this on if it were me, as long as you're on one of those plans. So e-check, the person can just automatically connect to their own checking account and just send money via an e-check, via an electronic transfer, okay? Do you want to take payments by cash or check? Sure, if you're running a flat donations payment and you want to let people just give you cash or check, I don't think that's too big of a problem on a flat donations. It can get a little bit more complicated on other peer-to-peers, but I would say in this instance, sure, this allows people to choose how they want to pay you. There are fees on the credit card transactions and there are a little bit smaller fees on e-check. If you don't want to worry about that, some people like to turn on cash or check, okay? And then the last thing here, again, I like to always tell people, make sure you put something here because on the credit card statement, you don't want them to see the words cheddar up. They get confused. 3 weeks later, now all of a sudden they're looking at their statement and they can't figure out what that is, okay? So you might want to customize that. And then fees, they do automatically go to the payer. If you want to rearrange that and absorb them or just take on e-check fees, you can turn this on or off as well. Okay, so these are all your settings. Okay, go ahead if you guys have questions. Just stop, interrupt. I'm trying to keep an eye on chat too. Okay, so the last thing you need to do now, you need to publish because we still want to add in those participants. So I'm going to go ahead and publish. Okay, so now I've basically built the fundraiser, but I haven't created my participant pages. I haven't added my participants yet. A peer-to-peer, this is the next step. You have to do this, okay, if you want those participant pages. If you don't need participant pages, just build the classic fundraiser one page. Okay, take a look here. One thing to note, I do like to point this out. You did just build a link now. That's going to be the primary link for the entire peer-to-peer fundraiser. It's right here. If you don't like that, if it looks weird, like, maybe that word copy, I don't need that in my link. I can go ahead and edit it if I want to, okay? Now let's look at add participants. Pardon me, and one other thing I'll say too, I apologize. I'm jumping over this because I want to get to participants. But when you get that link, the thing that's nice to have as well, these are all the different ways you can share it. This again is going to be the link to the entire fundraiser, not the individual participant pages. If you've used CheddarUp before, it's all the same functionality. Okay, so now let's go to participants. So this is something you're going to want to think a little bit about, okay? We did talk about that link Okay, that self-register link. So here's a link. Maybe you want to just send this to people and ask them to self-register. As long as you turn that on, right? That's why this is popping up. We turned that setting on a little bit earlier. Now we've got a link here. I can share this in email and I can say, hey, all teachers, hey, all people, I want you to self-register yourself. We'd love for you to do this with us, and you can track people that way. Let's say, though, you want to do it with an email invitation. Okay, you're going to come here to add participants. And now you have a couple of options. You can add them manually. You can copy and paste from somewhere else. You can connect to your own contacts, and you can also upload a file. Okay, so in this instance, this is what you do want to think a little bit about. Who's the primary participant? Is it going to be the teacher building for the classroom? Is it going to be the individual student? Now, if it is the individual student, one other thing we've been talking a little bit about this within our own team on what's some of the best ways to do this. Let's say that you don't have all those student email addresses, but you know the teacher might want to help out a little bit. You could do a like a pseudo email address, and I'll show you guys that. So one second, let me show you how this works. You come here to upload a file, upload file. Let me see. I know I put this one in here. See if I can find it. I just checked. Here it is. Okay. So CSV file, okay, ahead of time, you've got first and last name and email. You can put, kid's first name, last name is a letter, whatever you want to do, right? This is showing an email format with a name, with a typical email format that you see. Let me show you this. Okay, now I've got a file here. I followed this format. We're going to add them in. Okay, now take a look over here. So I've got my names of my participants and I've got my email addresses. Now I use this format when I'm working in CheddarUp because I don't have access to 15 different email addresses. But what's interesting to note is you can use this yourself as well if you wanted to. So you could, for example, if it's the teacher, she could have, let's pretend I'm the teacher, H. Wilson plus, and I could just say my kid's name here, plus, 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 plus. That would generate individual pages for every single kid, but not necessarily be associated to that kid's email address. That's one way you could do this. The other thing you can do, just individual classrooms, right? Just put the teacher's name in. So you do have some flexibility in how you structure this. You just want to think a little bit ahead of time. Are we self-registering? Are we dropping in email addresses and sending email invitations? All of that is something you kind of need to flesh out a little bit.
So,
Okay,
so to reflect back just real quickly here, is it the case then that you could not enter participants without an email? Like you have to provide an email, either it's the actual email or this situation we're using the plus hack with email addresses?
Yes, you
Okay.
need an email to build a participant page. The system doesn't really care what kind of email it is,
Hmm.
but you do need one to build the page in the background.
Okay.
So you could even assign it all to one, like you could do, let's say you're the organizer, Sean, and you just want to put, S. Kellogg plus whatever. I mean, you could do it however you want, but you just have to put some type of email into the system. Yes.
Right. And they assume they need to all be unique, right?
No, the
Oh,
email does not. Hold on. That's a really good question. We've had this one before. I'm going to have to double check with my support team. I do not think the email needs to be unique. There will be, oh, let me check. Oh, that doesn't make sense though to me. Hold on. Let me ask my team that one, okay?
no.
I've had this conversation before and it always hits me. Let me see if I've got.
Megan says they do not.
That's great. Okay, Megan's on our team. So great. Megan, thank you. I knew you were going to know that answer. So they do not need to be unique on the P2P, which is very good. Got it. Only when you're recording an order. Okay. So that's helpful to note too. If you want to build multiple pages, we're not too concerned about that specific email address. It's just the system is set up to add in an email address. And what I would do
Right.
is you could turn off a lot of those settings where it's all customized. Don't customize it all. You don't need all those pictures and everything. Just put the individual kids' names in and then go ahead and run it that way. If you don't have the kids yourself, maybe the teacher could build it off of their email address too. So that's an idea as well. Okay, so I'm going to save this because I just want to show you what this is going to look like. Okay, so now we've got our emails added in and our names. Okay, these are all my participants. Now, I still have this registration link here. If you want to just get people to self-register, you can share this. The other thing you have now, though, is all these people put in. What's nice now is because you uploaded with that email address and that name, a participant page has been already built in the background for these people. Now, you can invite them to customize that page a little further, but the good news is the page is already built, okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and send these invites. Okay, and let's look at what that looks like now. Okay, and just in case those haven't shown up yet, I'm just going to go here. So I'm going to show you in my inbox what a participant email looks like when you get invited to participate, okay? Okay, so here's what it looks like. Participant gets invited. This is what they're being told. Customize your fundraising page, share your page with friends and family, and then you're in a good spot, okay? So when you click on that, and let me see if these showed up yet. I'm looking to see. I want to show you. Okay, they did all show up now, so let's just look here for a second on one. Okay, so you've got that email, okay? Now you come over here to get started, and this is where that participant can customize their page, okay? Should pop up here in a second. But again, if you don't want them to worry about making all those customizations, you don't have to do that, okay? They don't have to customize everything. Sorry, I think my internet's a little slow. Okay. So here, they get a little bit of a note here explaining what they're going to need to do, a nice little pop-up here, okay? I can close it here. I can click on the I'm ready. And now that participant can come in, and these were all the settings that we turned on or off. So if you didn't have the image or video turned on, they won't see this, okay? If you don't have the allow them to edit their name, this won't be editable. If you didn't have the message turned on to let them add that, they won't be able to edit that either. So the nice thing is you can build those pages in the background for them, and they don't actually need to edit anything. But it's up to you. Whatever settings you turn on or off, that was back when we were building the fundraiser. Okay, so that's that final step for building. Let's just take a look at how it all lands then. So here's how it all lands, okay? Those individual participant pages, if they were customized, have a little bit more on them. But if they weren't, that's okay too. They don't need to be customized. You just don't have as much of that custom, not quite as many of those images or anything, but you're still okay. Right. They do not have to create a full account. You would be fine. Will the link in the invite continue to work for the duration of the fundraiser?
So like if I send this out a month before the fundraiser, will they be able to go back to that email and say, "Oh, I need to update my photograph or I want to change my text or whatever." Like, will it continue to work? Because sometimes those links are only good for like 24 hours or 1 week or
Yeah, good question. The link does not expire,
Great.
but you're not getting multiple reminders set up by email. So
Right,
you
right. I wouldn't
can,
expect that. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
just if somebody comes and says I want to tweak it, I'll be like, just go back to your invite email. That link still works. That's all I needed.
and you can resend the invite if they lost it.
Perfect.
Because I mean, I could just see all these kids, they're not going to keep track of any of that, you know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, you have the ability to resend as well. Okay, let's look real quickly at what, so you tracking me, Sean? Everything making sense to you so far?
Yep, 100%.
Okay. You're a very good student. This is fun. I love having a one-on-one. So great. Sometimes I get like 15, 20 people on a call and I'm like, so this is great. Okay, so that whole fundraiser's built and you're in a good spot. You're basically done now, okay? Here's where you can resend invites we were just talking about. Just like you said, just throw an email in. You don't have to customize it that much. If you just want to build those pages real quickly, you can add more participants. So you're in a good spot, okay? If you did teams, here's where the teams start to display. So you come here and you click on add teams, and this is where if you decide to do by classroom, this is where you'll do your individual teachers, right? Something like this, each team. And this is something helpful to note too. You can hit enter and then add in another team. So this will allow you to create multiple teams, and you can go ahead and add those in. Then on the participant list, you can go back and assign the kids to the specific team. Let me show you. So now you'll see this team button is now here, and I can go ahead and add them in if I want to.
Now here's the real trick. If you had added the teams first, could you have assigned the teams during the CSV upload?
Right. I've had that question before. Oh, Gloria. Sorry, Gloria, I forgot you're there. I know you're there. You've been on some of my other calls, so thank you. Gloria's here too. She's great. I know. Okay. Right now, and Megan, you might know this if you're still on the call. I'm 99% sure no. We don't have a way
Oh,
for you to
bummer.
upload the team list prior to adding participants. You need to add
Okay.
participants and you need to come back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bummer. We've got like 500 students, but
I
okay.
know. It's a little slow. Yeah. I'll give that feedback to our team though. Yeah. I'll let them
Please
know.
do.
Yeah. I will. I understand exactly why you would want to do that. Yeah. Okay. Let me show you over here just basically what a collection, what one of these peer-to-peer fundraisers is going to look like with money on it. Okay. So here we are. Let's look here. Creative Young Minds fundraiser. I'm going to go to my manage view of this. Okay. So on a flat donations fundraiser, it's a very simple manage view. If you're running an thon or a shop, you've got a little bit more to deal with because in a thon, you would have pledges up front. You'd see all of your pledges, and on your manage view, you would come back. Or pardon me, I think it might be on participants. I forget it's participants or manage. But once the activity completes, you go back and then you charge. Okay. So you see pledges and you see payments. If you're running a product sales peer-to-peer, you're going to see all the different things people have purchased and you're going to see your items display as well. If you're used to our other classic fundraiser, you see items often on those fundraisers. Here, if you're just running a peer-to-peer flat donations, you have a very simple view, not that much to deal with, which is kind of nice too. So you can see here a couple of things. You can see your individual donors' names, okay? You can see the participant that they donated to. You can do a couple of things over here. You can see a donation summary on them. So let's just look at that. Every donor is going to have this. You can resend receipts. You can update email addresses on those donors. You can add internal notes on them. If they decide they want to take their money back, you can refund them. And if you ask them a question, you can also view the answers to questions here as well. I don't remember if I asked a question. Looks like I did. Okay. So you can see the answers to individual questions as well. Okay. Every single donor will have that all of those same opportunities. Let's say they accidentally assigned the money to the wrong person. They have 3 grandkids, but they gave it all to one grandkid, but they meant to distribute it or something, right? And then they're all worried about it. Come to change participant, no worries, Grandma, we can fix that for you here. Refunds, you can send them a message if you need to. You can do a print donation if you need to. Yeah, I like that too, because some people, they get a little confused, right? And you just want to be the organizer that can help them.
Yeah, last year we had endless people be like, I need you move $10 over here. It's like, I can't help you, but this is great. So
Yeah, you can just change the participant, and so then they know that the money went to the was assigned to the right person. Yeah.
cool.
Okay, last thing to note here is your fundraiser summary. So if you know us from the past, you use us often for your classic collection builders, your classic fundraisers, and you run a collection summary report. On a peer-to-peer, you're going to have a fundraiser summary report. Not very different at all. Let me show it to you. It's going to go to my desktop here, and I think I have one already open as well. Don't forget you do have your reporting page as well that you can go to on the primary dashboard for CheddarUp, but I like to tell people always come to your collection summary or your fundraiser summary report first. You're going to see a lot of good info here. Let me see. I think I pulled this one up. I think it's here. Let me look. Yeah, it's so simple. I feel like when you use CheddarUp, if you have a bunch of items, you can tend to get some pretty beefy collection summary reports. On a flat donations peer-to-peer, you're just power of people. You want all those kids to go out and chase everybody and try to get some money, but it's a pretty simple view from a managed perspective and from reporting, okay? So you'll see the money collected thus far, and then you're going to have a donations page, okay? On your donations page, you'll see your dates that the payments have gone through. You'll see any questions that you asked. You're going to see the payment information here as well. If you did refunds, any of that, fees, all of that, and then answers to questions, those little unique custom questions that we put, they're going to end way over here on the end of the fundraiser summary. Okay. Okay. That's a lot of things to cover in a relatively short amount of time. It's good that I'm not doing a demo on all three peer-to-peer fundraisers, but I do like to walk you through the three different kinds. I think they all have amazing use cases, and you just want to think a little bit up front. Don't go too in depth. When you start to play with it, don't build it all out perfectly if you need to try the different types out because you can't convert. So just play with it, but don't put all your data in. I like to tell people that, okay? One other thing I want to make sure everybody knows too is just a little bit about support from us. So we have chat in the bottom left-hand corner here, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'm so proud to say those are real life people that answer your questions. Megan is the leader of our support team and she's on today. So she's one of those people that'll answer those chats for you. So you can go ahead and get a hold of people there.
Megan just helped me yesterday. It was a very helpful conversation, or maybe Monday.
That's great. Yeah, she's awesome. Okay, and then here, let me put into chat just so everybody knows. Friendly. Friendly support at chatterup.com. That's how you're going to reach us via email. And then I do like to show everybody here. Learning sessions, you can catch those Tuesdays and Thursdays. I just put October's out. We're going to do a oh, I think I've got like a turkey trot or a holiday run coming up, and then um end of the month, we've got we're starting to talk about Giving Tuesday, and then there's one other unique one. I forget what it is. I can't remember it right now. But and I also do Ask Anything. So if you just want to catch me live and it's a Tuesday or it's a Thursday and it's an Ask Anything, you can just come ask questions, and I won't do a demo on those. And the Knowledge Center, I do like to point this out because there are some really nice peer-to-peer tools here. So you do just want to, if you type in peer-to-peer, this is going to get you the bulk of our peer-to-peer Knowledge Center articles. We will break those up as well. You'll see separate ones broken up. And then you can even capture a few of our different videos as well. Let me see if that one pops up. So here you'll see all these different kind of components of a single fundraiser. And then here, if you come over to videos, we also have some nice videos. I like to tell people if you want to get the breakdown relatively quickly, come over here to videos and features, and you're going to see all of our different features broken up, and you'll see a couple videos on peer-to-peer fundraising as well. So that's everything I like to cover in about an hour. I'm here. I can answer more questions. If your brain's starting to stew on how this all might work for your organization, we can talk about that a little bit. Gloria, yes, she knows Megan as well. Of course you guys do. She's so great. Anytime I have a question, I've piggied Megan too. So great. But I hope I've covered everything. And like I said before, a couple things you want to think about as an organizer. Do I need a peer-to-peer or not? Okay. Do you want to tap into those kids? Okay, you're going to tap into the kids. How are you going to do it? Do you have email addresses? Do you have everybody's email address? Do you want to build a participant page, but you don't have everybody's email address? Just do a repeat one. Turn a lot of those settings off, okay? Are you going to get teachers involved or not? Think a little bit about that, right? And then finally, which type of peer-to-peer is going to work best for you? So I love it if you start with the flat donations. It just kind of, to me, taps into the power of community. It taps into those peer-to-peer individual participant pages, but then you also don't have, it's a relatively more simple peer-to-peer fundraiser. Some of them can get to be pretty complicated, and you just want to think a little bit ahead of time on all of it. So yeah. Any other questions? Anything else for you guys that I can help with?
This was super great. Really appreciate it.
Good. Yeah, Sean, you asked some really good questions on email, and we've been trying to think through that a little bit. But I think the best thing to do is, as long as you have an individual kid's name, just do the same email for everybody, build the pages in the background, and you're a good spot.
Yeah, the fact that you're not having to create username and passwords, that's where I thought this was going to lead. Is that then the
Yeah.
teacher was going to have to manage 30 passwords or whatever. That was going to be nuts. But I could totally
Yeah.
see this working with just like the magic link approach. So I get
Yes,
it.
yes, exactly it. Yeah, that's actually a really good way to describe it. I hadn't thought about that, but I like that. You're right. It is basically a magic link. And we're not creating accounts, which is
Yep.
nice too. We don't
Yep.
want to create accounts, and we're not doing that either. So it's just a way to generate the individual participant page.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. So my only request is to make it so you can upload teams with the CSV upload. That would be really
It's
handy.
perfect. You know what I'm going to ask you to do if you don't mind? I'll
What's up?
include it as well, but one of the great places to go is come over here to give feedback. And we have like a whole spot where you can vote and add in your own feedback. So I'd
Got it.
love it if you put that in yourself as well.
Oh,
And I have had that email question before, and I think we have a better answer to it now. So I think I may be able to push a little harder on just getting teams into CSV. So that's great.
all right, cool. Yeah, I will submit something. I see it right
Okay,
here. Perfect.
great. Awesome.
Cool.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you so
thanks, Sean.
much.
If you need anything, just follow up and we're here to support as you get moving on everything.
Sounds perfect. Thanks so much. Have
Okay.
a great rest of your day.
You take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.